Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Christabel, the original Power Ranger princess, but on this channel I'm Princess Power Ranger. So before I even begin this video, I just want to send a quick shout out to all of my new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. Thank you to everyone who has supported me, who's been with me, everyone who comments, everyone who's reached out. You know who you are. Thank you. So I wanted to make like a quick video, hopefully what will be a quick video. A lot of people, when they talk about DL men, and what comes with DL men, it's often a cautionary tale. Everyone who is transgender knows better than to deal with a DL guy. But still, we find ourselves in their company. We find ourselves entertaining them. We find ourselves pining over them. And I just wanted to give you some of the reasons as to why so many trans girls and gay men continue to go after down low men. So essentially, a down low man is somebody who professes to be 100% straight, but, you know, dips and dabs and like will sleep with the gay boys, sleep with the trans girls, all the while having a girlfriend or a wife, or telling everyone in his life and his circle that he only deals with biological women. So these are, I think we really underestimate how many bisexual people exist in our society. I like to think of the DL men as the bisexuals who choose to stay silent, the ones who choose to who choose to pass. And it's been proven so many times how aggressive these guys can be. But why is it, especially us as trans women, we still go after these guys? We still give them a chance. We still, when we get a booty call, when we get that text notification, we're jumping out of bed, running to go douche, putting on makeup, getting your wig ready, doing all of that just so you can hook up with a guy who's gonna run up out of your place. Why do we keep going back to them? So I think the primary reason really does rest in our own internalized transphobia, in our own internalized homophobia, and sort of the problematic beliefs that we have when it comes to attraction and, presentation and all of that. Let's be real, within the LGBTQ plus community, there is a lot of femme shaming. Gay men don't want to deal with a gay guy who's super effeminate. And transgender women, we're the same. A lot of us would never want to deal with somebody who came across as feminine, as wispy, as what we tried to come across as. And that's just the honest fact, At the end of the day, when we think of like a potential partner, we're thinking of somebody whose gender presentation is often the exact opposite of us. And because trans women often perform femininity in a way that is very stereotypical, especially binary trans women, meaning we do the most. We got our lashes, our nails, everything done. Being with a guy who comes across as feminine in any way can sometimes act as a deterrent. I've heard so many trans women, even Nikita Dragon once said in her, she had that horrible reality TV show where she said she did not want to date a man who is bisexual because it would make her question her own gender identity as a trans woman. And so often, being trans and being with a guy who is either bisexual or feminine in some way, that kind of like, or even just the knowledge of knowing that he's bisexual or feminine in some way, that kind of like triggers your own dysphoria. It really does, because a part of you is always wondering, does the guy that I'm with like me because of the masculine attributes that I still think I have, or does he actually see me as I see myself? Then, like, I mean, for me, I dated a cross dresser. I dated guys that were more like, well, I've entertained guys that were more like gender non-conforming. And whenever I'm in that space, to be honest, where, and this is going to sound messed up, where gender is not clearly defined, in that, I'm the girl in the relationship and you're the guy in the relationship, when there is a blurring of those lines, and I'm sort of the one who's expected to chase after the guy as opposed to me being pursued, it takes away from the attraction and it makes the guy seem less attractive because I'm sitting with another girl in front of me. I'm sitting with another princess. And any form of attraction suddenly, I don't know, it disappears. Whereas when you're with a guy who presents in a very stereotypical, uh, kind of like over the top performance of masculinity, when a guy like that is presented to you and they kind of want you, it's knowing, it's kind of like, who do you want to come after you? Charlie Brown or, Sylvester Stallone and Rambo? It's, who are you looking at? Are you looking at Steve Urkel, or are you looking at Michael B. Jordan? Be so damn fine though. Not Michael B. Jordan. T.I. Or are you looking at T.I.? Be so for real. And look, like, I know those are kind of like weak examples, but more often than not, DL men, they do kind of present kind of like T.I. or Eminem, or they present their gender expression in such a stereotypical and overt way that is attractive. That is attractive. And the old adage where people were like, girls love bad boys. Well, I think there's some truth in that. I think there is definitely some truth in how, when guys present in a certain type of way, the danger, the excitement of that, it makes it worth the risk. And that's why, like, so many trans girls, they will entertain these guys who literally could bench press them just with their one arm, who sometimes seem like they have an edge to them. And I've said it before and I'll repeat it. They remind us of our bullies. They remind us of the part of society that we could never access. They remind us of the images that we had of the prettiest girl attracting, the hardest guy. So many of us as trans women, we aspire to be like that it girl. We aspire to encompass everything and anything that she ever was. And in our minds, often we associate her with being with the alpha male. And because DL men often present themselves in sort of an alpha male kind of aesthetic, um, it does kind of make them attractive. It definitely makes them attractive. Whereas you find that a lot of trans attracted men, or, bisexual men that bottom, often because they have given up the notions of overperformance of masculinity, they tend to be more fluid with their gender expression and their expectations of relationships, their expectations of chivalry and courting and all of that. And it ends up with you feeling, and this is going to sound weird because essentially when you're a trans girl only going for DL men, you are fetishizing that alpha male toxic presentation. You are secretly fetishizing it, girl. Yes, you are. But in the same notion, like, a trans attracted man who perhaps is more feminine in his presentation or expression, a gender non-conforming man, and or a bisexual man, because they have given up all of those notions of masculinity, or aspiring to be like the alpha male, it can sometimes feel like they, as they experiment with their own schmexuality, are fetishizing you. So it's this weird kind of like circle, girl, where everybody's fetishizing everyone, but nobody gets to be with anyone. And like, I think back to the DL guys that I like entertained. And it's so weird because I remember when I met these two DL guys, we're going to call them Jacques and Etienne. Jacques and Etienne. Now, I was such a little, I was a thought. I literally, this is back in 2018. I was literally just on Tinder. It's the weekend, I have nothing to do, and I want to party. So I end up, just liking random guys and swiping left to others that I didn't like. I get 2 matches. Jacques, this blonde guy, he comes over, and he was really cool because we talked about like random stuff, and I went down on him, and it was like, so it was awesome. Like, I had fun with it. Gal, it was fun. Like, go argue with your ancestors, ho. And it was so awkward because my roommate, like my flatmate, he was in his room like the whole time when I was like busy chewing up on this boy. And he was perfect. But he was like kind of like nerdy in some kind of like way, but he was definitely DL. He was more of the, I would describe him as the Clark Kent kind of DL. And I knew at the time when I was hooking up with him that, this is just like for like whatever, I'm just acting out. But the problem is, whenever you do agree to meet up with a DL guy, because you, the trans girl, are in short supply, and there aren't that many of us around, he is going to keep on calling you. He's going to keep on keeping on. And it creates the perception that there is some kind of relationship when really there isn't. It was just a moment of Laz is all it was. He ends up like leaving and stuff, and oh my god, because I had not finished, and all of the attention had been on him and making sure he got to where he needed to go. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm still, I still want to go. Like, as I'm thinking that, the other guy that I'd matched with, Etienne, yes, we're going to call him Etienne, he hit me up and we were talking. And, for me, like, I I didn't know if he had read my bio, so I just let him know on chat that, listen, I'm trans and I have like a whole member down there, just so you know. And he was like, yeah, no, that's cool. Like, when can I come over? He came over, and I came, and he came. He came over and we had fun. We definitely had fun, and we did what, grown consenting adults do to one another. Now, with him, it was a little bit different because he had this weird kind of like broody, like kind of attitude, but it made him, go, go. Um, yeah, I don't know. It made him like schmexier. Like it made him like all the more desirable. And oh my gosh. He honestly, like, I gagged when I saw like what he was working with, and it was so much fun dealing with what he was working with and everything. And it was supposed to be like just that one weekend where I experimented and saw what different DL guys were like. But Etienne especially, him and I kept, I want to say bumping into each other, but nah, bitch. She sent me a WhatsApp and I was like, okay, come over. And I mean, our situationship lasted for I want to say a year and a half, almost 2 years. And it included us blocking each other. It included me dating other people and trying to start my own life and whatever. But there was something that pulled me back continually, um, to him and to that situationship. And what it was really the fallacy of a relationship. It was the fallacy of being with somebody that was like a caricature, of what male masculinity is supposed to be. And in the moments that I had with him, I definitely reveled in that and had so much fun. But I recognized that this boy, I don't know him. And every time I choose to be with him, I'm playing into this delusion that something is going to happen. And it never will. It never will. Like, we kid ourselves into thinking that we know that it's a lie, and it's I'm just having fun, this, that, and the other. But late at night when you're thinking about that person, or when you're stalking them on Instagram or Facebook and getting upset and in your feelings when they have a girlfriend, ask yourself, this friend of mine with benefits, what am I actually benefiting? What am I actually benefiting? Look, do what you do. Have fun with your DL dude if you want to have fun with your DL dude, but know that nothing will come from it. I know why we go after these dudes. It's all about the fantasy. But just like a really good, like set of makeup on your face, you have to wash that shit off and face reality. And the reality is that these DL dudes are never gonna claim you. All right, bye. I love you.